Hey everybody, I'm KK.
I'm Kristen.
And together we are
K&K Crochet.
I don't know where that came from.
Today, we're going to show you one of Mom's blankets.
Alright, first of all, we're going to talk about the fact that Jeanette from DIY Creations is hosting a crochet along, a very laid back, just kind of go with the flow crochet along that I love. That's my kind of thing. There's not a timeline or anything like that on it. She has started a crochet. Of course it's crochet. A corner-to-corner blanket and has invited us all to make one with her. So, I was already in the process of making one because if you know, you know. If you've been around, you know that I'm on a quest to make 6 before December 25th. And so, they are Christmas presents. One of them's a Christmas present to me. It was supposed to be last year, but whatever. So I am working, I've completed the one that is the camouflage deer that goes to my youngest. I've completed the basic block for mine, which is the Grinch blanket, except I need to put the facial features on, and then I have to go around the edging. I was thinking all I had to do was the edging. I dread those eyes. I really dread them. I got to find a pattern because what I've been doing I don't like, so when I did the scarves. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And then there's a Firefighter blanket for my husband. There's another deer blanket for my oldest. And there's a frog and mushroom blanket for my future daughter-in-law. And then there's Kristen's. And so, you know that the camouflage deer is done for Luke. I told you the update on my Grinch one. And now I finished Kristen's. And so Kristen's was one. I couldn't find a pattern I liked. So I took 2 pixel art pictures, which if you don't know what that is, it's just a graph of squares that shows a picture in it. And you can use those to make a C2C blanket. And I put them together and I worked out the dimensions and did it myself. Now, I'll show you the blanket and then I'm going to tell you what happened. A couple of things happened. So, here we go. Hopefully you can see that there's... Oh.
Yeah, you can see the top.
Yep. Yeah. And then it goes all the way down. And so it is a squishmallow cow. Kristen shows her colors. And I'll take a picture flat and put it on the community page so you can see too. So, here's the thing. First of all, she chose the colors and we forgot to choose the colors for the
horns.
The horns.
And the nostrils.
And the nostrils. So here's what happened. What happened was, so I came home and I picked out what I had, pink, because I forgot about these colors, right? And thought that I had done a really good job of picking out the colors, the nostrils and the outline were supposed to be the same and the inside a lighter pink. And then I started crocheting and I got about probably halfway through and realized if you look real close, this color here at the top and this color here on the edge are 2 different shades of pink. Do you know why that is? Any guess why that might be? Because all of this yarn around the outside and the inside is the same yarn. But it's a Red Heart Ombre. So he has an ombre muzzle, like whatever. Around his nose. All of that is the same color yarn, the nostrils and around the edge. This part is some Red Heart light pink. But anyway, so Kristen said it was okay. She said it looked like he had a shadow kind of overshadowing him and it would be okay. It is kind of perfectly in half because this is all dark and then around the other side is all light. So it is what it is, right? And we hadn't picked a color for the horns, and on the pattern that I had, the pixels had shown yellow. Y'all know how I feel about yellow. So I got ready. I got to the point where the horn was on the first one. And I told Kristen that day, I said, I've got to find a yellow. And she said, I don't know if you have anything except a bright, bright yellow. And I said, ew, yuck. So we looked at, I was going to go buy something else. We looked at what I had, and I had this, which is a Red Heart Flecked or marled or something. I don't know. You all can see it's got the colors, speckles in it. That's hard. Yeah, there you go. So I think that turned out really good as far as coloring. It's like a tan beige color. But every time I would put the blanket down and go to pick it up, I was expecting to see this Caron white, and I would see this, and see the speckles, and I thought it had dirt on it, and I would flip. Because I'm like, oh no, it's got something on it. It's filthy. Look how dark it is. Yeah, because it's really a lot darker than the white. You can't tell, but it is. So anyway, that was that. But then I got everything done up to the point one day I had like 38 rows, and I thought, I had promised myself, I'd started it, I think in April. I had promised it would be finished in April to myself. I wanted to do that. It was April 27th when I remembered. And I was almost to the halfway point as far as finishing off on the bottom down here and starting to cut off this side and go on up. But I still had several, like 3 or 4 rows before I would be able to finish off at the top and start cutting off that part and going and decreasing the whole blanket, right? So when I got to 38 rows, which was a couple of days later, yeah, I was right down to April 30th, and I thought, I can finish it. I can finish it today, you know, except for sewing in the ends. Well, that didn't happen either, because I got all excited about finishing it. I started zipping along, and all of a sudden, somewhere along the graph, when I put the graph together, I guess at one point the lines didn't match up on the graph paper, because I can't do this off of looking at something on a computer. I have to be able to mark off my graph. I just have to. It doesn't work any other way. I've never had this problem. I've had problems where you have to go back and rip it out because you miss a block or something, but I've never had a problem where I get so far off on the lines that I couldn't remember where I was, even though I'd been marking it, because of the way the graph was, and because at one point it was off by a stitch, and I'm like, okay, whatever, so I just made it up as I went along, because I made the graph anyway, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the one that decided where the black lines were going to be on the bottom and the top, based on looking at the picture that was, and the way I couldn't get it to, it turned out fuzzy when I did it. So I'm the one that decided where they were going to be. And so when I got to a certain point, I'm like, I'll just wing it. And that didn't work real well when it came to these horns, this horn on the side and this ear. But Kristen said it turned out okay anyway for her. His ear, I think, is 1 pixel smaller on this side than the other. And this horn has some spikes like this. Should have probably been a brown. But whatever. It worked out. She's fine. Happy with it. And that's all I care about. Needless to say, it did not finish. Yesterday was the 2nd of May, and that's when I wove in the ends. But guess what?
That's close enough. It's just 2 days.
Close enough for horseshoes, and yep, we're good. I'm good with that. I'm happy with it. It did get completed. I just needed to be reminded I needed to work on it. I have been working on hats and other things. So I'm happy with it. She's happy with it. It is for Christmas. But yes, they know what they're getting, because how in the world do you hide something like this?
Yeah, especially when we live with you. Like, it'd be different if we didn't live in the same house.
Yeah, like the other 2 that don't live here, they don't know about theirs. But those who live here, they know, because what am I supposed to do about it? Like, I can't hide that when I'm sitting here trying to do this, and I'm flipping this over and back and forward, I mean, she's going to see it, you know. And plus, I wanted her input on what she wanted. So that's what she got. It's a Squishmallow cow. We've talked about before, she has this thing about animals and stuffed animals, and she really has this thing about Squishmallows. She loves them. So she chose that. We were trying to piddle around. We were going to do a cow, and we finally found that one, and she said that's it. So that's what she chose. And, but bam, I've started number 3. So this is today.
She didn't even take a day off.
I didn't.
Yesterday was the 2nd. I worked, came home, and she said, let me show you something. And bam, all the ends were woven in.
They went surprisingly quick. There were a ton of them.
They were a lot.
And they went surprisingly quick. I was really kind of pleased. I sat during Spring's Live and did it. I think that's why it went so quick, because I chose not to talk during the live, and I just sat there and wove in ends. And when I did that, then I got done surprisingly quick, and I still got to enjoy the live. But then I didn't feel, if I didn't speak out during the live, I didn't feel the need to talk, you know, like watch the chat and comment and stuff. But I was still there, and then when I finished, I jumped on and said hello. But anyway, yep, maybe that's the key to getting that done. But that's number 2 and of the year. So I have a deer and a cow, and this one is a Firefighter Maltese cross that says first in, last out. If you've been around for a while, you've seen the finished one of this that I did before, and it is 6 years old. And it was the first one I'd ever done, and it has some issues. It's kind of got some places where it's kind of falling apart. So, yeah, I decided to make him a new one, even though he said, you don't have to do that, because this one is 85 by 85 stitches, 85 by 85 blocks. So it's supposed to turn out to be 68 inches square. So that's not what I'm doing. I did take off 2 rows on the bottom, 2 rows on the top, and 2 rows on each side. So that takes away several rows of stitches, and that will help. And I also switched to a tutorial that Spring has, Spring the Fiber Enthusiast, about making your blocks more fabric-like, where there's not as many holes. And so I'm thankful for that. So I will link that down below so that you can go see what she does to make that happen. And I'm hoping, allergy, sorry. I'm hoping that will also mean less yarn to be used, because it is definitely less stitches. And so, and I'm using a J hook, and it calls for an H hook in the pattern. This is an Etsy pattern I'll link down below. It calls for an H hook. I think I used an I the first time, which is one reason why I'm not real happy with the way that blanket turned out. It's very, very full of holes. And like I said, the first time I'd ever done it, and I used a Red Heart yarn, the white, which is super thin compared to the black, which is super thick. So you all know this. I'm not telling you anything new. So I bought Caron 1 pound that is thicker this time for the white. So I'm hoping that will help with the difference in the white, because the heavier Red Heart yarn pulled on the white and just made it kind of uneven and pulled out some of the stitches and things like that. And so hopefully this will turn out looking a lot better. My husband says he's keeping the other one.
It'll disappear one day.
It's going to get trashed, because it has ripped out so many times, and I've gone back in and redone and sewn in, and not like just ripped out, like there would be, you know, I would try to fix it and lines of stitches would come out, and I'd have to go in and sew in and do. And yeah, my first C2C, I learned a lot, but yeah, I definitely know better now about a lot of things. So changing the hook size, which I had to do this time because the I hook was not working with this yarn. It was kept catching, so I changed to a J hook. I changed the thinner white yarn to a thicker white yarn, so it'd be the same consistency as the black and the red. And I also am sewing in my ends and like knotting them down to make sure that they are really, really tight, because our blankets get used. This is not a lay it on the bed and make it pretty kind of blanket. This is, they use these, so they go through a lot. So anyway, I've started number 3. We'll see how long. Today is May 3rd. So for documentation, this is May 3rd, and I'm starting that blanket. And this one will take longer because, like I said, Kristen's was 67 blocks, 64 by 67. This one is 81 by 81, so it will take longer, considerably longer, and it's got a lot of color changes, and it has words in it, so it's got color blocking like that. So yep. So anyway, that's where I stand on my C2C. Go check out Jeanette at DIY Creations and join in the fun with her there. And don't forget to be kind, because
you don't know anybody else's journey.
Bye.
Bye.